Okay, so can everybody see my screen? Beautiful. Okay, so good afternoon and welcome to Digital Toolkit, the only place where you can get a broad spectrum of digital advice, tools and tips to help your business grow online. Today's session is all about digital success stories. So what does digital success actually look like for your business, for other businesses? Particularly, what does it look like online, and how do we get there? So the Digital Toolkit's actually been running now for a couple of years, and we've taken it online this year with tremendous success for ourselves. But what the motivation there is to help you as a small business to gain more success online. So your success is where we achieve ours. So today, without further ado, we will be proceeding to share with you two success stories that have come from the Digital Toolkit sessions over the year. So we will have Sharon Davies joining us by a recording from this morning, as she is currently at an event today. So, but she did want to be here, and she asked if she could do a recording. So we've got a recording of her responses and her personal success story to share. And we also have live with us Carly Reading from Inkblotva VA. Now, both of these lovely ladies joined us earlier on in the year in May and June, and they're going to share the success that they've had since being on the toolkit earlier this year. But before we proceed with that, I thought we might introduce everyone on the toolkit. So once again, the Digital Toolkit runs weekly, every Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. And we always have a variety of digital experts on scene with us live to ask your questions with regards to your digital business and helping you grow. So today's session, we have myself, Katrina Puranik from Ranking Australia, and we help you build your web presence online, because it's not enough just to have a website. You need to think about your digital presence from a holistic perspective. It's just social, it's your content, it's your marketing, it's everything. And we want to make sure that that's presented as professionally as you present your business in the real time. So that's Ranking Australia. Moving on to Oncord. So we have Alex Cumberland with us. Would you please take over?
Yeah, sure. I'm Alex from Oncord Software. Oncord is a website and marketing platform that small businesses use to run a professional online presence, so they can update the site themselves, run email marketing campaigns and grow a contact database. We're also the platform of choice by a lot of digital agencies that are looking to implement better online presences for their clients too.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us today, Alex. Really appreciate you and Joel making time each week to join us. Over to you, Sheldon. Thank you for coming today.
Yeah, thank you, Katrina. It's been great meeting up with these people each week now. My name's Sheldon Morey, Sheldon Morey Consulting. I'm a technology coach and technology consultant and the tech magician for the Business Advantage program. So I help small businesses become effective, efficient, and apply their technology to remain competitive in their industries.
Beautiful. Thanks, Sheldon. Always a pleasure. Over to you. Oh, Lauren's not with us today. Goodness. She was going to join us, and so was David. Oh, Nicole, I am so sorry. Your slide didn't make it in there. I will let you share your video. I'll stop sharing. There you go. Over to you, Nicole.
Thanks, Katrina. Another excellent session I'm sure it's going to be today. I've already got my notepad and pen ready because I always take so many notes. There's always something to learn. So I'm Nicole van Hattem. I'm a business coach, and I'm also the founder of the Hot and Healthy Academy, which gives women in small business access at an affordable level to high quality qualified coaches and trainers who can help them to start, run and grow their small business so they can thrive and avoid the burnout. So check that out at hotandhealthyglobal.com. One of the things that I'm particularly passionate about is seeing how we can use digital technologies and digital platforms in order to be able to do exactly that, start, run and grow our small business without burning out. So the digital toolkits are absolutely vital in helping our women in small business be able to achieve that.
Beautiful, thanks Nicole, and apologies on the delay for your slide. There it is. Everyone please be aware that Hot and Healthy Global is obviously the home of the Hot and Healthy Academy, which you can gain access to a range of different services and products that you can take advantage of to help you build and grow your business. So it's only $47 a month, but it's packed with hundreds of dollars of value. So please do check it out. Thanks, Nicole. Okay, so for today's session, the Digital Success Stories, part 1 of the Digital Success Stories. We do have another one coming up in October, so please do keep an eye on that one, as we do have a surprise celebrity joining us in October. So grab a coffee or a drink of some kind, because you don't want to miss out on the juicy tidbits that we will be sharing with you this session. So please do make sure your mic is on if you would like to jump in and ask a question of the guests that we have today. So Sharon, if you have questions, she's shared with me a booking link to reach out to her, so I'll share that in the chat as well. So Sharon is from Sales to Success, so Sharon Davies, and her area of expertise is sales strategies. So I'm just going to bring up her video. Now, can you all see? Can you all see my face on the screen now? Okay, beautiful. So I will hand it over to Sharon to share her story of how she gained success from joining us on the toolkit and where she's at now, and it's quite an impressive one. Please let me know if you can't hear. So everyone, we've got Sharon Davies here from Sales to Success, who is our first success story for today. And she'd like to share with us her journey since she's last been in the spotlight in the Digital Toolkit with us. So over to you, Sharon. I have a few questions for you. Are you ready?
I think so. I'm ready.
Beautiful. So just wondering, Sharon, what have you done or changed in your business or your digital strategy since you joined us in the Digital Toolkit?
I guess with what I've done is it was all about redefining sales to success. And I guess with this time with COVID, the first thing, which I think I mentioned last time, is that I did my cert for retail with Peter Baldwin. But what that enabled me to do was take a step back of what is it that my clients want, and then what is it that I need to do differently. Because there was a lot of contracts that I lost because of COVID. So it was like, okay, we need to reshift and redo things differently. And one of the things that I thought, right, I really need to update my website. And I think that's where we were talking last time. And, you know, I really need to work on my website. I really need to let people know what I do. And I think that's where that change, it was that mindset change of, okay, listening to you guys last time when we spoke, it was like I really needed to focus on that. So, and I've worked with Lauren Clements and the Audacious Agency with doing my branding and marketing. And that was, and I engaged with Lauren to work on that, because I thought, before I do the website, before I start doing automations, I really need to get a clear understanding of the messaging and what I need to put out there. So we worked on the branding, and where that made a difference, I actually learned a lot from that. And I thought that, you know, being in sales and marketing, you sort of think that you know quite a bit, you know, 30 years experience, but to then go and go, right, now it's your own business, and now it's like, it's really looking deep into yourself and what is it that the clients talk about you. And I think that's always, as a business owner, it's talking about yourself is always the hardest thing, and sharing that. So I think with working with Lauren, I really niched down into my ideal client, my ideal market, and from that we were then able to get the right logo. And I think that that's where, from a branding point of view and marketing with digital, what I did with that strategy is that, and it, you know, it was over a 10-week period. It wasn't something that you just go, right, there's a logo, there's your brand, there's your website. You know, it does take time. And so what I did was, with the logo, when we came down to the designs and everything, and I mean, I thought my logo was okay, but when I sort of went through it with Lauren, it was like I learned so much about the whole process and the messaging. So we went to the market, and what we had 4 designs. And what I did was, I wanted to get my clients involved. I wanted to get everybody involved to vote on my logo and branding. And I think from a marketing and a sales point of view, that was just to do that and put it onto my LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is my jam, right? As well as, and people find me for the, you know, on LinkedIn because they know me from that. And Facebook, I also shared it within business groups and also in to get that out there. What that enabled then was to have everyone vote on a logo. Then when they voted on that, we then had a winner and of the logo. So what I then did is I made that a feature page on my LinkedIn, and I actually thanked everyone for being involved. I was so amazed at how many people were involved with choosing my logo. It was off the page, the votes. And so I actually thanked everybody. And I think that when you get your clients involved, they then go, which one did you choose? So which one, you know, and it was about them. I go, I actually didn't choose that logo, but you guys chose it, and it's about you. It's not about me, it's about you. So I think that's where, with that engagement, I had over 1,200 views on LinkedIn of my feature page of my logo, and all I did was thank you to everybody that voted for my logo for the new branding. Here it is. This is the one that you chose. So for everybody that liked my post, I did a personal thank you to them, and it was amazing. I had general managers, CEOs, managing directors from overseas as well. Everyone that participated, I ranked every single person and thanked everyone. That's what made the difference.
Nice. Wow. So, obviously, you know, that's quite a story there. But what I'm curious about as well, beyond all the success you had around the logo and getting the brand out there, what impact does that specifically have on your business?
Well, what that did was that people could see that I was constantly growing, I was constantly posting, I was constantly putting out digital content all the time. And so when they saw, wow, Sharon's growing, so they saw that as a growth as well. And I think that, you know, with that, it was getting the messaging right from a digital point of view and letting people know that, you know, I'm just not a sales coach, I'm a sales strategist. I specialize in that B2B. And that's when B2B businesses started engaging me and saying, Sharon, could you come and talk to our sales team? Or we're looking at growing ourselves, we're having some success. We'd really like to go to the next level, because strategic selling is one of my fortes in training. And so that's where I had a lot more engagement with business owners saying, we need to get a strategy, we need to get our value proposition out. And that's why I think when that started talking and I started showing up in a lot more network events and online virtual network events, I went to a couple of events, and some clients that I've been working on for a while, it was just a matter of time where they said, right, Sharon, we now want to engage you to help build our sales team. What people don't realise is that because I'm HR trained in developing and leading people, is that I can actually hire people and show and take business owners through that process. Once I mentioned that to the clients, they were like, so you can help me hire the right staff, because I'm just not getting the right staff selling in my business. So I've had quite a few clients like that that said, Sharon, can you come and help us? So, and then actually teaching them the process of finding the right salesperson, so making sure that the copy's right and making sure that that we are hiring the right person. There's a lot of talent out there, and that was for one of my other clients. You know, we put in for an ad for one role. We were maybe looking for two. We had over 58 applicants. You know, so it was a very interesting process, I can say that. So, but it's been a great process to be able to hire someone, and now I'm doing that sales coaching for that company as well as for the sales reps within that team and building that out. So that's probably the biggest success with the new client that I've had. Plus also my other clients that I do one-on-one with as well. People are just talking about it. And I also did a business breakfast. I was a keynote speaker at a business breakfast, and I offered some one-on-one training with them as well. And some of those clients took that up, and I've been doing that as well, using Zoom and using those processes as well, and tailoring the program of what they need, because not everybody in sales needs, you know, like a whole program. Sometimes they just need, a business owner just needs a couple of tweaks and more of a tailored, you know, with their value prop or an elevated pitch, or how to close, or how to, you know, handle objections. So that's really like also.
Yeah, just out of curiosity, I was wondering what, obviously, you know, if you were to step back 6 months ago, what would be the percentage of growth thanks to your new digital strategy approach with your LinkedIn?
My growth, the growth from 6 months ago has been huge. It would have to be at least 60% growth.
Wow.
You know, from that, because, you know, if I look at what I had, well, let's say 50, right? 50% growth with LinkedIn from a business owner's point of view, because there's so many more people that, you know, I've used the LinkedIn strategies, I've connected, I keep putting content out there and being consistent, which is what I teach people about, being consistent and being clear and have clarity around your messaging. But showing up and being consistent, doing videos are definitely, when I put videos out there and content, the hit rate is so high.
Wow, okay. So LinkedIn is definitely a place to be for a sales to success.
Definitely. I think it's just that and look, nothing against Facebook as well. It's just that a lot of clients tend to source me on LinkedIn more so than Facebook.
It's a professional network as opposed to.
Yeah, and I think that's just where, because my clients, I teach a lot of strategic selling, and it is the business owners that are selling to the B2B. A lot of clients find me, but I still have my business page also on Facebook, to make sure that, you know, because look, you never know, there's always other business owners that are on Facebook that might see something that just for them. And what I do find, Katrina, is that if they find me on Facebook, they'll then go straight away and look at LinkedIn, and then they'll look at my profile there. You know, on one of those, as I think I mentioned last time, that's how the CPA in Brisbane found me to come and talk to them. And it was a financial controller who saw a post on Facebook, and then she looked up on LinkedIn, and then found me and then sent the message via LinkedIn. And it was on a Sunday, and I thought,
changing the context of the conversation. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so I think they love to see that human side of you on Facebook, and I think when they go to LinkedIn, they see that professional side and what you've actually done. So that's where I'd say it's the growth, and it's just being consistency. When I say to people that, you know, continually to do your 10, 10 to 10, you know, 10 phone calls, 10 emails, 10 connections every day, you know, and if you keep doing that consistently, your profile will grow, and making sure that you're connecting to the right people as well. I have a lot of people on LinkedIn that will connect with me, and there are some that I will not connect as well, because it's about your brand, but it's also about your business. You know, what can you do to help that person?
Definitely. So, you know, so much for that amazing story and advice for small business. I'm just curious, what's next for Sales to Success?
Oh, wow, what's next? Well, at the moment, I'm building out sales teams for some of my corporates and my B2B businesses, which I'm in my flow, if I could say that. I'm in my flow. So I've actually got some of my clients that I've already done some one-on-one coaching, which I still do. So, and I still love that. I'm still passionate in helping business owners in a one-to-one. So at the moment, I'm building out some automations and working on some videos that I can help more business owners, because as you know, there's not enough of me at the moment. So we're growing with that, with the one-on-one training. Those people that I've already trained, the B2B owners, I'm actually bringing them into a mastermind, which is in October. What else have I got? October, I'll be at the Gold Coast Small Business Expo. I'll be also a keynote speaker speaking there as well. And I've also got the Brisbane Small Business Expo talking there as well and helping business owners. And I think that'll wrap up my year almost. October, November, my mastermind in October for my clients. And that will be then, I think, December. I've got a couple of other clients that I'm helping with their sales teams as well.
Beautiful. Sounds like it's all happening for you, Sharon.
And then hopefully in January, we'll be having a sales conference, which is one of my goals to do for my academy. And to have that, so hopefully I've got all my keynote speakers ready to do that, but it depends on COVID, right?
Definitely. Still kind of up there, isn't it? So
yeah, but other than that, that's about it. I'm still building out my new website. I'm still working on that.
How can people get in touch with you, Sharon, if they would like to find out more or engage with your business?
Well, they can send me an email if they like on salestosuccess.com.au. Or what I will do is I'll send you the link. I've actually got a 30-minute strategy call where people can actually click onto the link and actually book in an appointment, and they can have a 30-minute strategy call with me and see whether I can help them and take them through the steps of sales steps of learning of success for them, and give them confidence and give them the results that my clients have already had.
Beautiful. Just send me that. I'll add that to the comments on the live session in Facebook for you, so people can reach out to you.
No worries. And we've got some great testimonials as well on LinkedIn of clients that I've just finished doing a lot of coaching one-on-one. So if there's anyone that sort of wants to look at that, have a look on LinkedIn under Sharon Davies.
No worries. Thank you so much, Sharon.
Thank you. So lovely to talk to you again.
Okay, guys, yes, so that was Sharon Davies, and a big thank you to her making the time this morning to record that earlier for you. So some really good advice come out of that, purely the variation in the content that you might use in Facebook versus LinkedIn. So one's a social, more human element, and the other one being more professional and value add for businesses and potential clients. So moving across to our other success story, who's here live for us to share with us the story of Inkblotva VA and the success they've had since May, I believe, is when we had you last, Carly, isn't that right?
Yeah, the 27th of May is when I first met with the group.
Beautiful. So please, tell me, what have you done in your business? What have you changed in your digital strategy since then, since you joined us on the toolkit?
Okay. For starters, I have one now, which is always good. I'd been so busy with the client work that I gained early on and just getting by. Everything was still really new and really defining and refining what it is that I was doing. Having a plan, it didn't seem that was where my best headspace would be. I mean, I could guess, forecasts of educated guess, but I'd be doing a bit of a stab there. I really felt that I should just be here in the now and just get through it. And when I get a little bit more comfortable about where I was, then that's when I could, take that step aside and go, okay, got some experience now, got some time behind me, and then I can figure out what it's going to look like, where it's going to head, and if that's where I wanted it to go. I really couldn't forecast how it did go because May, everything sucked. It sucked. During the time between then and now, though, it's been about 14 weeks, give or take, if my math works. I have been forced to stand that step back and understand what I liked and didn't like about my business, where it was going, what I could offer, what I wanted to offer, which can be two different things. What I wanted to offer my clients in the future and what I wanted for myself, what I wanted that end goal to be. I hadn't really thought about it. And I know that it sounds a bit silly, but to be honest, I wasn't there yet. So now I've had a lot of time to figure that sort of stuff out. And in part, I've had my website updated. Thank you, Katrina. It is amazing. It reflects a lot more of a focused brand. I was getting there, but I wasn't quite there yet. I'm really comfortable, really happy with what we've got going on at the moment. I've taken on 2 contractors who now assist me with client work, which means I can take the time to do my goal setting, my planning, my marketing, and all the other aspects of bigger business, which is just amazing. And I kind of feel like I'm playing, but just let's move. I outsource my socials and my blogs now, which is a big relief for me. I'm a bit of a snarky kind of person naturally, and it definitely comes across into what I want to say. And that doesn't necessarily catch across with where I want to be. It's more about, the reflexive kind of comment. And it was a big stressor for me because that's not how I want to have my overall brand shown. So I've actually taken a step of my own career advice and I've outsourced it. So we plan it a month in advance. We update anything that's topical, and I really just don't have to think about it for more than an hour a week, and it's brilliant. I absolutely love it. And something that is absolutely monster is I published a planner. So sometime last year, I was having a one-to-one with Nicole here, and we were chatting, and I'd mentioned it was something that I'd been doing by myself for a really long time, just printing my own. I couldn't find what I wanted, and so pretty much cracked the shits and did my own. And she asked me, well, why on earth hadn't I shared this with anybody else? If it worked for me, why wasn't it working for somebody else? And sort of mulled it over because, I never say yes straight away, but mulled it over and figured it was actually an amazing idea. So I went through the motions, figured out how to do it. And a few months later, as of Monday, I have launched It's a Scheduled Life. It's a planner that is no dates, no days, no rules. However you want to use it is going to be how it gets done. And we did a month of pre-sale in August. We ran a launch event on Monday night to pretty much acknowledge that it happened. And now it's live across the globe. I've had international orders as well as national orders, which is just bonzo. And we can only see where that part's going to go next.
Wow, that's incredible. I'd love to hear a little bit more from Nicole as far as her, can I hand it over to Nicole for you to ask a couple of questions of Carly, please?
Sure. So I think the first thing is working with a business coach helps you to see what might be right underneath your nose. And I often say, if you can't find what you need, then perhaps you're called to create it and make money out of it. So if you're struggling in your business with a particular pain, perhaps there's an opportunity there and to have a bit more of a closer look at it. It could also be, you know, when you know your avatar really well, your ideal customer, your ideal target market, and you're generally a reflection of that avatar, particularly women in small business who are passionate about their businesses. It can often be so obvious that what you're struggling with, your ideal client who's an extension of you is struggling with, and it's an opportunity for you to solve that problem for them and make money out of it. And so working with someone else who can go, hang on, I'm listening to what you're saying and there's an opportunity there, and here's how that opportunity could be expanded. So with Carly, the question I have for you is, you've shown us the in-print version, which is gorgeous, and I want to know if you've got a hot pink one, and you and I are already talking about what we can do to work together to create a planner specifically for the Hot and Healthy Academy members, because it is a brilliant tool and you are great at helping people streamline, get organised and be more time and energy efficient. Is there an electronic version? Because we're all about the digital. Is there a digital version of your planner?
There isn't this year. I wanted to see how well it was received first and really get some real life feedback, because in my experience, people don't actually mind telling you what they didn't like about your stuff. So whilst it works for me, I know that it's not going to work for everybody. So if I get the same question over and over again, then I know that I haven't actually spent time on a particular element. So trying to make it better before I do invest. The electronic copy is coming if this version goes well. And I really, really want the electronic copy, and I'm just trying to figure out how to do that on a commercial budget at this point.
Okay, well, I might have some options there for you, and I'm sure somebody here in the expert team has probably got some ideas for you as well. The first iteration of anything we create is very rarely the last iteration, and I'm sure Oncord can attest to that, and Katrina, and particularly when you're new in business. There's some things that you mentioned when you were giving us an overview of what's been happening for you in the last 12 months is what we think is our business at year 0 to 1 is very rarely our business 1 to 3, and often there's another shift, a tweak, a clarity, a refining 3 to 5. And then I find that generally when people get to that 5-year mark, they're like, yep, this is it. This is where I'm going to go for the next, you know, long term. So to be able to stay aware, open, reflective, take feedback on, because some of the feedback when you're passionate about your business, it's your baby and it hits you between the eyes. You don't want to hear it. I've got advice about my business that made me cry, but it was such a gift, because later I was like, oh, thank God I didn't waste any more time on that, because that right between the eyeball advice, once I got over the shock of it, I reflected on, went, okay, what does that mean about me, my business, my beliefs about me and my business? And then really going, all right, so where's the opportunity here for me to adapt, to pivot, to get more advice, to test something, to not be too attached to whatever it is I'm creating. So I want to applaud you as well for what you've gone through. The first 12 months is such a personal learning and growth journey, and it's oftentimes where people crack and give up because they take it so personally. But if you can, you know, do what you've done, which is take it on board, have the guts to back yourself and put something out in the marketplace and go, ooh, that's feedback, and then go, that's all it is. It's just feedback that's going to make you better and more successful depending on how you receive that feedback and interpret that and apply that learning. So I wanted to give you a big hands for that as well.
Beautiful. That's awesome. Thanks, Nicole. I would love to hear Alex's ideas for potentially implementing the digital version of It's a Scheduled Life.
That's very on the spot. Howdy. I was actually just sitting here mulling over in my head what would kind of be possible there. I think a big part of I think one of the big key success points that you've nailed on with your planner is the flexibility of it there. So the fact that I guess it is just like a well-structured blank canvas, that people can kind of mold to, make sure it fits in with what they're doing. Mm-hmm. I think retaining that over into a software application where people aren't necessarily forced into a set framework, where instead you kind of retaining that flexibility with your scheduling would definitely be worth the extra effort. There's quite a lot of different options about taking a first iteration of a digital product to market. I think one of the most valuable things that you can do starts with, it's pretty funny, but pen and paper. So pen and paper to design the thing that you've already created with pen and paper. But it's true, just having a couple of pages on that you can kind of write some wireframes about, what you actually envision would be some options in the app, how people would interact with it, what would be the experience of, entering things into this app and configuring it and that type of thing. Starting off with those and then taking that to a software developer or an app company or something along those lines kind of, makes it super easy for them to get started and go, okay, I can exactly see what you're trying to put together here. This is the types of costs that you'll be kind of looking at there as well. I don't know if you've noticed either, but a lot of the guests and apps that we mentioned and that sort of stuff are all Brisbane based. Brisbane's actually one of the best places in the world for software. There's a whole lot of marketing companies here. There's a whole lot of SaaS products, and you're pretty spoiled for choices, I guess, about approaching people to start building your cool ideas.
Go Brisbane!
Yay for Brisbane. Nicole, you have something to add there?
I want to add, I was thinking more like an ebook version. So one of the easiest ways to adapt a product while you're still testing it and taking it to market, if you wanted to be an in-print one, is to put out an ebook version and maybe have, because it's very affordable and quite easily done. So I created a recipe book called Balls of Energy, and it was based on guests who'd been experts on the Hot and Healthy podcast who were sharing their success tip and their favorite recipe in the shape of balls in order to be able to raise in a cheeky way the topic of men's health. So then I wanted to create a vegan version because there's a massive market there. Vegans love supporting anything that's got the word vegan in it. And I was like, well, that's easy. I'll create a version of my Balls of Energy book, which was omnivore, as a vegan edition. Super easy, affordable. I didn't end up doing it because I was busy with some other things, but I still might do it. But it was very easy. It was only going to cost a couple of $100 to take the exact same edition, ebook, omnivore, pull out, do a few little tweaks with the graphic designer and put it back into the market as a vegan version. So an ebook is a great way to do that. And working with an affordable graphic designer can take all of the headache out of it for you and give it that really nice professional polished edge. And you can quickly adapt to new versions as you get new markets. So for example, your planner could be designed for, let's say, solopreneur women in small business in the health and wellness space. Mm-hmm. It could be for people who are creatives, who, like me, I love to draw pictures and mind map stuff, and the idea comes up. So maybe it could be tweaked, made a bit more colourful for a particular market. So an ebook version, an online version like that, and then they can just go in and order the version that's right for them. And they might order a version for their daughter, the teenage daughter coming through, who they want to have all these skills straight up. So just, maybe that's something to explore. And I'm happy to share my graphic designer with you because she's really affordable and does a fabulous job.
Thank you.
I feel like there's some tools around that help you stop, with your ebooks and digital products there, help, I guess, keep the IP under control as well. So stopping people from plagiarizing it and just, re-downloading it and that type of thing too. Mm-hmm. Nicole might know more about that as well because she's kind of right into the ebook space. But I think that, there's some readers that are around that'll help with that sort of stuff too. That would be worth, I guess, thinking about there too.
Mm-hmm. There's a potential roadblock there though with the planner becoming an ebook. I'm just foreseeing being guilty of downloading templates before to print. When it's an ebook, it's a PDF. Yes, is that what you're referring to? Because that would mean that you'd have to type
Possibly.
into the PDF, which could potentially mean a lot of work digitally. It might be potentially the same investment because well, not necessarily.
I think it would be something that you print and then fill out, right? Rather than have to fill out on the PC itself, because you're right that the fillable PDF stuff is a bit clunky. I've always found it pretty clunky.
Having a preview of the book is another thing, which I think you've done that on the website already, Carly, which is great.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely a market for how do you say, an online planner or calendar diary, however you want to put it, that is really flexible. So as far as using Calendly at the moment as an online booking system, okay, that's fine. But when you talk about viewing it for yourself and actually utilizing it for yourself, you've got, say Google Calendar, for example, which carries with it its limitations in how it actually lays out. But what if you could turn around and expand the today's date on a month view calendar, and you can see today's date at a bigger box, for example, just because you've clicked and dragged it open. I mean, having flexibility to change the way your planner looks, or a digital planner, for example, would be incredible. It's not essentially out there yet. So it's certainly something to look into.
As Nicole said, though, as well, it's definitely like an iteration process of like, starting out with that MVP and maybe looking at like an ebook version, and then, I guess taking it easy with the cost and the requirements, especially when you're testing these ideas out as well. There was a whole lot of testing things and that sort of stuff with Oncord too before we reached a commercial product that people were actually able to use.
Well, that might lend itself to one of the later sessions in October, 28th of October, all about digital partnerships. So, because you might find that a couple of people who want to invest in you developing the idea as well. So, I think people like Nicole, Lauren, potentially Sheldon might have some things to add in that space as far as finding investors or potential partners as well in that space. So beautiful.
I can definitely add to that. I was talking to a capital fundraiser yesterday, and we were talking particularly about my interest in supporting women in small businesses ideas, and about how do we educate them and prepare them to put a pitch together. So yeah, definitely talk to me and keep in touch with me about that. The other thing is, because it's such a beautiful product as opposed to a service as part of your business, you can easily get onto podcasts and start adding your expertise around time-saving techniques, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, and by the way, you can buy this product off me. So looking at digital PR through getting interviewed on, doing things like this is awesome, but getting interviewed on podcasts, getting interviewed on summits where you're adding value through your expertise sharing, which doesn't cost you anything except a bit of time, but you have an instant product to sell. So now is the time to perhaps start looking at your digital PR and putting a bit of a strategy together there.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Well, I thought I might turn the spotlight onto Alex to finish off the session today, being that Oncord has had quite a huge success in growing their brand over the last 12 months. So they've rebranded from Synergy 8 to this amazing brand. I love the logo, I really do. So I might turn the mic over to Alex, and you can share a little bit about your success stories. So what is it that you've done differently with Oncord that you didn't do with Synergy 8?
Yeah, so Synergy 8 did a perfect job of describing what the software did in its inception when we first started. So this was a good, like, going on more than 10 years ago now. It was supposed to be the synergy between everything that you use to run digital, which was great. Over time, the word synergy just didn't age well, I guess. It's a little bit of a management buzzword, and just it didn't age particularly well, specifically for software as well. There was also 8 components of our software back then, and I don't know how many components there are now, with the amount of features and tools that we've got bundled in now too. So the 8 kind of became a little bit more meaningless over time as well. We also had quite a bit of trademarking issues going over into the US. So this 2020 was perfectly timed as our US launch year. As part of doing that, we kind of wanted, at the end of 2019, we set up a really awesome cloud server in the United States. We got US billing going as well. So if you're international, you get billed in US dollars. If you're in Australia and New Zealand, it's Aussie dollars, which was a fun project to get going. I guess went through this pretty big process internally, about 4 months of, feeding out what it is about our software and values and the culture that we actually have here, and turning it into a new brand. So that's how we kind of came up with Oncord as well. One of the kind of key ideas that was behind the rebrand was our client retention. So whenever we go to whenever we chat with other members of the SaaS community and software and that type of thing, there's a lot of chat around churn. So what your churn rate is, how many customers are dropping off as you're growing every month. Oncord basically doesn't have churn. The only time we really lose customers would be, the biggest point has been business closure during COVID. It's kind of natural closure of business. It's not really people deciding that they need to move out of it or anything like that. It was primarily business closure. So we do go really above and beyond looking after people, making sure that the software is up to date and secure and that type of thing. There's a lot of love that goes into it. So we came up with, I guess, the idea that people are always wanting to come back and wanting more, and that's how we kind of landed on Encore as like a word and a key value. And then feeding and playing around with that, we ended up with Oncord. Having a made-up word as well kind of helped us with the aging problem, as well, as far as that we had with Synergy. It's its own term, and we can kind of do with that what we will. Renaming a 10-year-old company was a pretty long process. I'm still feeding it out of places that I find around the world in different blogs and all that sort of stuff, but I think it was definitely worthwhile. We're really proud now when people say, sponsored by Oncord, and just seeing the brand around like that. It's been fantastic. With all of that ready, we launched in the US at the start of the year, and then was promptly shut down and sent with our tail between our legs back to Australia again as COVID started to spread in February and March. After spending quite a lot of money in trade shows and things as well in the US, and meeting up with a lot of agencies and things. But coming out of that, we maintained a really good relationship with a couple of really good key contacts in the United States. We've met a whole lot of people through the roadshows, even from overseas afterwards, even though we didn't get to really attend those things. And I guess just through our existing network of partners, and Encord's actually grown quite nicely through COVID, which is a good position to be in, because this morning, small businesses are still closing every now and then, which is really sad. And I'm in a position where we can say, you're in genuine hardship here. we can chat your Oncord account for a couple of months to help you get through this, that type of thing as well. And, you know, that's because the software company is in a good, strong position and we've been growing through this, which we're very lucky for. We're in that position, I think, because of the amount of time that we spend with partnerships. So I think a big key kind of point about Oncord's growth over the last 12 months has been partnerships. So it's about spending the time, you know, building proper relationships with people, picking up the phone and having conversations and chats, meeting with people where you can, and yeah, I guess just doing your best to, you know, build those long-term relationships and putting in the work.
I have a question there. Were there any online roadshows that you could attend in the States now that everyone's doing a lot more online?
A lot of them actually rolled over into online. So SASTR, SAASTR, and there's another few as well that I can't remember the name of, that Joel and Scott have been like staying in touch with and going to as well. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but out of those roadshows, I guess a lot of them were doing, I mean, we have a pretty standard thing where we'll go through the other exhibitors and people that are participating in roadshows, and we basically just make a little, like, I guess, list of people that we would like to actually engage with and talk to at each one of these events. I think it makes it like, and it's the same with like actual physical roadshows. Like if you go there with a bit of an agenda of, oh, these are some people that I'd actually like to have a conversation with them. And it was most of that where most of the value from those roadshows came, I think.
So a quick question for you there, Alex. What's the next big thing for Oncord?
Continuing growth, actually. So more partners. So we're at a point now where I used to have to work pretty intensely on the sales front in the Synergy 8 days to be constantly putting on new clients and growing it. And yeah, contributing to direct growth. So Oncord selling websites to people basically. And we're actually at a point now where the resellers and the partners and agencies that use Oncord have taken over our ability to sell it directly, which is pretty cool. So that means there's more people out there and our partners out there building solutions for clients than we ever have, like, directly. So yeah, the plan is to keep building on those partnerships and those tools to help grow Oncord internationally.
Beautiful, excellent. I'm really pleased that that's working so well for you guys, because the Oncord platform is incredible. I having been how do you say, a seasoned WordPress developer over the years, and then coming across Oncord and going, wow, just the impact from taking a website from WordPress to Oncord, and the level of compression, the simplicity, the speed in building on the Oncord website on the Oncord platform is just incredible difference. So it was, you know, where have you guys been all my life kind of thing. So no, Oncord is really incredible. So, you know,
thanks heaps, that means a lot.
So I guess that kind of almost brings us to a close. Did anyone have any more questions for Alex? No, not at the moment. Okay, beautiful. So just going to quickly share my screen with everyone, because next week is quite interesting. We have a couple of people joining us for how to avoid digital overwhelm. So I believe we will have Nicole, if her timetable permits, as well as Chrome. We will have Carly join us, and I believe there's a couple of others that are potentially going to share their insight as well with regards to managing your time and your business online without, you know, going bald from pulling your hair out. So, which is something that we all go through. You're not alone. We just need to make sure that we have the tools and strategies in place to help us manage those tasks on an ongoing basis. So please do tune in next week for how to avoid digital overwhelm with the Digital Toolkit and the amazing people that make up the Digital Expert Panel. So thank you again for watching. Thank you for joining us, Nicole, Alex and Carly, and Sharon this morning for joining me very early this morning, and Sheldon, I believe he had some technical difficulties, he had to step out. So but again, as always, please do register for the Digital Toolkit so that you can get found, get paid and grow your business online. Bye for now.